Hi, this is video number 7. My name is Raj Sekandar Chaudhary, and this very video is about democracy, for true democracy, in support of democracy, or an open letter for democracy. Okay, so in the past year and in the very recent period, Bangladesh has had a very epoch-making change, uh, uh, change in history and short time history. Bangladesh is as a nation state. It is not a very old one. It started in 1971 after a very hot. I mean, suffering with lot of sufferings and people with huge losses, and it got finally liberated and it got its independence. So that was the first war, or we say, of liberation and independence. This time it is not really independence, but we say that it is a liberation movement, or Bangladesh got its second liberation, or as in Bengali we say mukti. Okay, now the problem is that after we had this, last 5th August, and we now today is July 2025, so it's almost 1 year, and there is a team of this interim government led by Professor Yunus, who is doing an excellent job and the best possible job. He said he is not a man of politics, certainly, and he said over over and over again but he is a man of economics and applied economics. He with this microcredit, the Grameen Bank, and also social business, etc. He did a lot of he had a lot of contributions, not only to in Bangladesh but also the worldwide. That's why he is widely respected, and even he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, which is not very not something great for him, because he did much more than that. Okay, so now the problem or solution or situation, whatever we can say, that he is a charismatic leader, Professor Yunus, and we can clearly say that he is a very highly creative problem solver. So he is solving problems in his way with his team, of course, but things are not easy, because Bangladesh, we had almost 15 to 16 years of they say fascist rule, but I think it was rather a mafia sort of thing. So and it destroyed not only it destroyed the state. In fact, it destroyed the state and also corrupted the nation. So the nation state of Bangladesh has found itself in an almost in a state of disaster, economically, socially, economically, politically, and in the spheres of communication, etc. Especially economically. Well, now there has been many steps, and people have been talking and very freely now, and there have been proposals, a lot of proposals and advances also. But I'm living in France. I'm certainly I'm a Bengali. I was born in Calcutta in India, but my origins are in East Bengal, so in Dhaka region. So I rather call myself a Bengali with both parts, not necessarily confining myself to one country and other, etc. But I feel that the sufferings and people that they went through in the last year, with 1,500, almost 1,500 dead, really dead, and around, let's say, 15,000 or even 20,000, we don't know really, We know, but well, it's not very well known figures. So they are wounded, handicapped, and still undergoing medical treatment, etc. So after this great suffering and this great sacrifice, we have this Bangladesh now at the what shall I say, the juncture of something new. Or Professor Yunus said it, and we understand that this is perhaps a chance and an occasion, and a very rare occasion. If we miss this one, I think we'll never get another chance to get moved around, and I mean going forward. So what is at stake? The thing is, in the nation state, and well, there is corruption, etc. All right, I mean it's not all right, but it happens. There are people who said, oh well, we'll have one mafia, then we'll have another mafia, etc. This sort of thing. But otherwise, after all, in this nation state and the institutions or the systems, as we say, the real power, the power which is in fact the power of decision, because we do not understand the problems exactly. Otherwise, all the problems, they are technical. In fact, they can be solved technically, whether economic, social, or cultural, etc. And even political problems with the power ones, they can be negotiated and deals, etc. with diplomacy and political negotiation, and not going really to I mean this negative result sort of, lose and win relations outcomes. So well, the power lies within the 12 crore voters of Bangladesh. And these 12 crore voters, the people of Bangladesh, I think is between 17 or 18 crores. But well, there are a very lot of young people. So the voters, which are, I think now at the age of 18, they can vote. It is eligible for vote. The voters are 12 crores. So this is in fact the real power of Bangladesh, and one person, one vote. But well, for many countries, and in ours also, they cannot do this decide directly. That is, we cannot have direct democracy. That is the best one, in fact. For the moment, we cannot have that. In the very near future, we can have, and we should try, because the technical capacity is there, the technical means are there, and among the people of Bangladesh, they are gifted people, a lot of young people, and they can be trained. And with this AI, or which is artificial intelligence, and the communication revolution, we can have a direct democracy, people voting directly for this and that solution X or Y, etc. But that is not real feasible right now. So what we can do? The thing is, they said this democracy, the electoral democracy, that people go to vote, and there are candidates, and there are political parties, and then there is voting. After the voting, the candidate, there is one candidate who gets the highest number of votes, and he gets elected. He becomes elected, means elected representative of the people of that constituency. But at any rate, well, he belongs to the representation of the people. I think there are about 300 seats in Bangladesh. Whatever it is, if it is 300, or it could be developed, it will be augmented to something more, etc. And then we can have also a second chamber, etc. But the thing is that this very pattern of not voting the result is already discriminatory. This whole the insurrection, or in fact revolution of the people and the students and the people, it was against this discrimination. In Bengali we said Boishomyo Birodhi Andolon. That means a movement against discrimination. a movement against discrimination. But I've already said that the biggest fault line hiding in plain sight is this electoral result, not the voting. People will vote at any date, whether it's direct democracy or this democracy or a proportional result. People at any time, at any date, will vote. And in many countries, and especially in our countries, in fact, people they do not know exactly who is the candidate. Rather, they vote for the symbol. So symbol say a house, a boat, an animal, or a river, or this sort of easy symbols. Okay. So there is no problem. But the thing is, with this sort of result, that means the highest, the candidate who gets the highest number of vote gets all, and the winner takes all. He is elected, and all the other, they are not elected, and their votes are not counted. That is the problem. The people, the candidates who lose, their votes are not counted. So that goes in vain, in fact. So this is the biggest discrimination. This is the root discrimination of power in Bangladesh. And we can say for other countries, etc. But let's say talk of Bangladesh now. So I think this must be corrected. Otherwise, what happens is that I'm not talking about against any specific party or etc. That does not matter. But any party who gets, say, 40% votes, but by this situation, by the circumstances, and by the system itself, he gets, let's say, 60% deputies, or 60% parliamentarians, 60% representatives. So, and that is really discriminatory. And the others do not get anything. So it is the winner takes all, and the losers lose everything. So the proportional vote is that the people go to vote, and they vote their symbols, etc. The votes are counted, but the result is that, well, certainly the result is that there are all the votes are counted, and on a national basis, we calculate the proportions, the proportional voting. So all the parties, whether big or small, etc., if somebody gets 30% vote, he will have 30% of representatives. He will have 30% of parliamentarians. So, and if another party gets 20% votes, he will get 20% representations, parliamentarians. So in a parliament, let's say 300 of parliamentarians. If a 1%, some party gets 1% of vote, he will get three representatives. So that is wonderful. So what happens is that type of parliament, after this proportional counting, after not voting, the voting is already, there is no difference in voting. The people, they go and they vote. But in the proportional counting, with the percentage counting, this the elected assembly or the parliament, whatever we call it, it is wonderfully representative as such, nothing more, nothing less. So this is, in fact, I think, a very, very easy and wonderful solution to our problems, because that's how there won't be any tendency to go towards fascism, or let's say perhaps not fascism, because there has been so much talk about it. I mean, authoritarian regimes, and the slowly they taking one sort of the whole power. And we should remember that the fascists of the 19th centuries, the Nazis, the many other fascists, they got elected by this system. They did not come by force, and afterwards they changed over to very fascist authoritarian powers. So we know this. So for our democracy to be solid and not sliding down again towards some sort of uh, absolute power, whether directly or indirectly, or whether in a very open fashion or in a covert fashion. Uh, so this assembly, after the counting of proportional votes, this will be represented exactly as it is, nothing more, nothing less. So nobody should be afraid of it, and we should we should refrain from having this temptation that maybe there is this thing, maybe I'll have 45% vote, but I'll have 65% seats. This we should not go for that, because this has been very tempting, and we would not have a democracy after all. At the end, a culture. It is not just a system. The system, if democracy is not in the culture, the system will be corrupted quite soon into something non-democratic or anti-democratic. So, well, with culture, we cannot dictate culture. We cannot. Culture is something different. It is not a system. So that's another thing. That's we have to build parallelly, or even a base sort of thing. But what we can do, and what the Bangladesh people and the voters can do with this proportional counting, they can have an assembly which is wonderfully representative and non-discriminatory. This is the most important thing, because this movement, with so much of suffering and so many killings, with the young people and even middle-aged people, and after so much of sacrifice, if the things go again backwards, then I mean, and this we won't be able to recover, and we won't be able to recuperate from that one. So, but this is a very, very sage way, even wise way to do this, this proportional counting of votes. But there is other thing also. The many people, including many leaders, they said that the constitution we have, it is a tattered constitution, and with this constitution, Bangladesh cannot go forward in this 21st century or third millennium. We must have a fresh and healthy constitution. So what I think is, and many others also, it's possible that we will certainly have an election. And it's, I think it has been decided in early February, and that election would not be first. We will have two phases. The first one will be once elected, and then the voting counted as proportional. So the assembly is constituted proportionally, but that assembly will be a constituent assembly, which means this task will be not to govern or legislate, but to find another constitution, to create another constitution which is healthy and sound and healthy. And so, this was the first phase. This assembly, constituent assembly, which has been formed with proportional counting, would form, and the constitution, another constitution, the new constitution of Bangladesh, and which is certainly with the assembly members and the commission members, which are certainly we know technical and specialized people, and also thirdly, and perhaps most basically, must be listening to what people say. So this three triangular process, but this won't take much time, maybe 6 months or etc., or maximum 1 year, we can have this constitution to go forward. Then this same assembly, without again having another election, etc., which means cumbersome for people, etc., once the constituent assembly has done its job and has put forward a constitution, it will automatically become the legislative assembly. So still wonderfully represented proportionally, which means non-discriminatory. But in the constitution, perhaps very that many people say that perhaps it would be better to also have a second chamber, which is certain. We know that like the first chamber is like is a house of representatives, and the second something like a senate or etc. And where the by indirect voting and those elected or from local election etc. This can be sorted out further. And that's the second chamber would be constituted as especially those who have been left out and those people who should not be left out, because election is after all a sort of filtering process. Sorry. So it filters out people. So this the second chamber would be constituted this way. So with double chamber and the proportionally represented assembly, and also a constitutional court, wherein if and when the legislative legislates or passes a law which is not really which goes against the constitution, which sometimes we say the black law, they can be called in question, and the constitutional court or the constitutional council, they can decide the merits of whether for or against etc. So this I think the thing which we can, but parallelly we must develop a culture of democracy, because sometimes there are people say, we are not accustomed to this proportional vote, and we are not accustomed to democracy even. In Bangladesh, the mood is certainly not many people. They flout democracy. They don't like democracy. It's sort of this old village sort of thing, or this I am bigger than you, I am greater than you, I am more important than you, this sort of thing. So this democracy, which should be cultivated and developed. So this is I have made some videos, and I will be making other videos. And I think, let's hope and let's have faith in people, and also in God, certainly. Also in faith in God and in humanity. And let us do the things which we can do. These things can be done, and this goes against nobody. This writing of a new constitution, and this proportional counting of votes, proportional representation, and this is for everybody. This is a win-win solution for the whole of Bangladesh and for people. So, here I stop here, and perhaps next time. So, bye for now.